Hi everyone! Welcome back to my channel, and my family and I recently went to this fun RV center. We explored a lot of RV places, and I won this shirt from a free skee ball game with my dad. Speaking of which, my topic today is about forces and motion. Forces and motion are actually the same thing, except motion is what's inside the object that's moving. Compared to forces, forces is how the object is moving. Forces can be like hitting a soccer ball with your head. Forces can do many things. For example, everything you do comes with force. Gravity is one of the common forces we have on Earth because it holds us down. So when we are jumping on a diving board, we always go straight down because gravity is pulling us from the Earth's core. Forces can also do complex motions such as twisting, turning, and crushing. This is because different forces or powers of force are going against each other. How we can measure force is with a unit of measurement. It is called a Newton. Compared to 1 Newton to a lot of Newton, 1 Newton is less force than a lot. For example, when I don't put force on a slinky, or when I just hold a slinky, it doesn't do much. So this has 0 Newton. But as I pull it, which is a type of force, the slinky gets wider. And this is caused because force is pulling the slinky wider, but the force is released when I release the slinky. Other types of force can include picking up something because you're doing upward force, or pushing a ball forward in sports. When there are balanced forces, that means two objects with the same mass, or the same space it takes up, and the same speed come together at opposite directions. And when they collide, like a clap, when I clap my hands, they go about the same force, and they move back at the exact same time and distance because the force is balanced. When forces are unbalanced, they can cause special movements. Gravity is a common force that is around our Earth. When we can use gravity against us or with us. For example, during skydiving, when you jump off a high plane, you go straight down because gravity is enough to pull you down. Gravity always pulls you down and not pushes because it comes from the Earth's core, so it pulls you down. We can use gravity for our advantage when we're skydiving because gravity can slow down because of air resistance. Air resistance is the upwards thrust, while gravity is trying to pull us down. So when we spread our arms wide out in our legs, we can be able to use air resistance to slow us down. And a parachute can help us with this too. This is also the same concept of why something with a solid mass or solid molecules like metal will sink in the water instead of a piece of wood which would float in the water. This is because the wood will send up the upthrust motion because it is compacted with the water. So the water goes around it in order for the wood to float. But at the same time, gravity is pushing it down. But since gravity is pulling it down. But since the water has upthrust, the upthrust is stronger than the gravity, so that's why things sink. But when a metal rod is stuck into the pool, it's going to sink because the upthrust isn't as strong as the gravity. Motion is depending on how much molecules or how dense the molecules are in an object. From a sheet of paper like this to a soccer ball or a light bulb, these objects all have molecules, and molecules are what make things move. So even I have molecules, so that makes me move. But when molecules are more packed together or more dense, that makes it harder to move. So that's why furniture or pieces of metal will stay more still because the molecules are more tightly packed together. Acceleration is when these molecules will either speed up, and this is the scientific word that scientists call it. So when motion changes, it is called acceleration. There are three main types of motions. There is the pendulum, which an object rocks back and forth in the same direction until the motion is eventually stopped because there's no more force. Then there's the circular motion shown by a ballerina on ice. And this ice skater will spin around, and this is a motion because it causes the object to spin around. And lastly, it is the complex motion, which can be on straight ground, but it can also have a circular motion like a gymnast's front handspring. When she does this front handspring, it is sort of like a circular motion on straight ground, so that's why it is called a complex motion. Finally, friction is one of the things that impact motion. So when I rub my hands together, they become more warm. But why is that? This is because our hands have tiny bumps that we can't see because our human's eyes can't pick up these tiny bumps. But our hands actually have friction on them. So when they rub together, these bumps will snag together. And so when I rub my hands, they will create warmth or because of friction. When a car goes on the road and the tire needs friction in order for the car to stay in control. So that's why if you ask your parents, they will say driving a car on ice is much harder to control than on a normal road because ice is almost all smooth. This is also the reason why an ice skater can glide smoothly on the ice surface. Take a closer look at this running shoe. When this person runs, the shoe needs to scratch against the road or whatever surface for the object or the person to move forward. But without friction, they would be running in place without going anywhere. These shoes also have special water channels to direct water to the ground instead of reducing friction for the runner to be slow. In conclusion, I think that forces and motion are related, and without these, our world would be very different. We would not be moving, and also forces are used in our everyday lives. Thank you for listening. I hope you like and subscribe to my channel.